All right, guys, so we have gotten into this. The market opened about a half an hour ago. We have since continued to make three prominent top wicks here before finally coming back down into this zone. So let's just look at this. Really simple, right? Stops below recent structure, which correlates to daily low. So if we just look at this on the daily chart, we're getting into this essentially based on this level here. And it's harder to see on the daily chart, but if we go down, if we go down a little bit right here on the 4 hour, it gets a little bit more simple, right? So we came back down, and yes, we broke below this key level here, but we have since moved back up and really made the structure that we were looking for. And so I think it's fair to really just target this this high up here, right? We might get a little bit of run into some resistance like here is a good example, but this is really an example of looking, starting to look more for just legitimate swing trades. And so here, right, we came down, came back up above this key level again, and have just as of our current open candle, come back down to tap into this level as support. And so all we're looking for is, as long as we stay above this low or comfortably above this key level here, I think we will make a good case for a long position up here. And this is one of those where, you know, we could, once we get up here, really extend this target. Not even really necessarily have a target, but just continue to move stops up into profit and let the thing run, because then we're pushing all-time highs. And so, then that sort of begs the question: should we move this stop a little bit? Maybe have it below this low down here. Doesn't really change a whole bunch, but the point is we want to willingly endure some drawdown, or be able to endure some drawdown, because, like I said, we're looking at this at a much higher time frame perspective. Let's move that over. Um, and so, yeah, really all we are looking for is a tap down into this level, which we got in, yeah, right there at about the top of this zone. And that's really as simple as it is, right? We are looking at the daily chart, and what do we see? We start to see some, at least on yesterday's daily candle, yeah, we're moving down, but we tap into this key level, which we have here marked in the hourly 4 hour chart, and at least that's where it's most prevalent. And we have respected this level as support before, and now on this current open daily candle, we have come down fairly low, but we are starting to pull back, right? And so that, right, combined with our overall, um, you know, uptrend, we're in an uptrend. Um, as we work our way down on each time frame, we can sort of begin to see how this price action makes sense, right? So then going down to an hour, same thing, right? We get in on this candle, which is now just a bottom wick coming back into this zone. Our current candle is now moving up pretty nicely, but like I said, I think we will probably run into some resistance here. This is a very prominent level, very strong level here, as we can see. Um, and so from here, this is one of those things. If we're looking at a swing trade, right? Obviously, we would expect this a little bit. So what I will do sometimes is, instead of just entering, depending on your brokerage, you can close a portion of your position, like close 50%, 75% of a fixed single position. What I will do sometimes is enter, three positions for a specific trade. And so, for instance, here, depending on the size of my position, I would maybe close one of them, or like the smaller one, and then leave the other ones open. That is something that you could look at, because then you're still getting a profit, and that sort of reduces your risk for the positions that are still open. That's one way to look at it. I do that a lot of times. Um, or once you get to a level like this, you expect a little bit of a pullback. Maybe once we break through this level, you'd move stops up to break even, that sort of thing. So, you can look for an entire move. Like, let's say we're looking for this high to be met up here. Um, and you can still sort of take profits on the way. Now, obviously, like I just said, I'd want to do that sparingly, right? Like close very small amounts on the way up, only to really reduce your overall risk with the positions that are still open. So anyway, yeah, that's really what we're looking at the moment. Um, yeah, we have some news today, so we will probably this candle will probably run into this resistance here, and we might get a little bit of a pullback. But anyway, very simple trade. I hope that makes sense. It's really just, like I said, the more that we look at the overall bigger picture, which is, I mean, we can see this clearly on the 4-hour chart here, but we go back to the daily, right? We are in an uptrend, very strong uptrend. We're looking for price to fall back into and respect or re-respect a key level, which is this level here. And so as we go down to lower time frames, it begins to make more sense. It's not going to be perfect here on the 30-minute chart, regarding this. Like, yeah, technically we came below this level, but looking at this on a daily chart, we are overall expecting this level to be respected. It would be different if we really came down and instead of immediately coming back up, we, you know, like eased our way back up into this level as resistance. That would be a different scenario. But with where we are now, we quickly come back up above this level of support because again, this level being a daily support and 4-hour support is more important than on the 30-minute chart. It appears to be resistance, right? So we come back up, close above, and then work our way back down to retest. And this on the 30-minute, this retest is in line with our daily and weekly and our overall higher time frame, bigger picture bias. And so that's why it's easier to take a long position here. So anyway, we're gonna, don't know how long this trade will take. Probably take a while. Might be tomorrow when we reach our target here. And like I said, we'll probably run into some resistance here. So we will take a look at that, and yeah, we'll go from there.
All right, so as we push up here, you can see we came down and have a really nice wick here. It is 6:30, so there's some news involved here on Friday. I have closed a percentage of my position here as we reach this zone, and really what I was looking for is anywhere from the bottom of this zone up into um, our resistance up here, which is our recent all-time high. And now the remaining portion of the position that is still open, stops are still underneath here, so we have them in profit in case anything goes wrong. I think once we really break this high, we can move them up below this level here. Um, and because this was a very nice, very healthy retest of this level in here that I was a little bit worried about as a resistance, but we pushed through it very nicely and then came down and had a really healthy retest, and are now working our way back up. So again, and so yeah, I've gotten out with, closed a portion of this position up as we're pushing up into the zone. And yeah, what I'm looking for now for the remaining part that is open is to extend targets a little bit higher, and sort of anticipate this level to be broken to make a new all-time high. And then we're going to just go from there and sort of stagger our stop loss up as we move our way up. So, and maybe this doesn't happen today. It is a Friday, but maybe we have one of a pretty high volume into the week. We're already starting off the morning pretty high volume, and we still have an hour before the market opens. So anyway, we just have to, just be patient and see what the market can give us. But anyway, overall, a really nice position so far. We're pretty much at our target, give or take a little bit, right? But like I said, this is sort of my new, not necessarily brand new method, but a new way that I'm managing my risk is I'm going to, once I reach my initial target, which will correspond to a larger scale support or resistance level, which is this, right, this zone within here. I'm closing a portion of my position and then leaving the rest open with stops in profit. That way we can still take advantage of if we get a massive run up, but if things come crashing down, we still get out with a little profit. And then the part that we closed, we also have a profit on too. So really what I'm trying to do is reduce the amount of um, reduce the amount of risk essentially, because as long as we're moving in the direction of our trend, which is our bias, um, and we are we have stops in profit, then unless something drastically changes, there's really no downside to holding on to a position, right? And so I'm just sort of going to stay in this position. At some point, I might manually close it as we get up higher, or maybe we keep moving our stops up and we get stopped out in profit, further in profit. But anyway, all I'm trying to do is, once I have a nice trade, I have a good entry, and things are going my way, then I will move stops into profit, and that way we reduce the amount of we just reduce the overall risk, right? All right, so a good bit of time has gone by, and you can see we are obviously out of this position, but um, we it's a little bit disappointing because we came so close to our target, but we did, we closed a little bit on our way up here, and then the rest was closed at break even, or a little bit above break even, so a small profit actually. So no loss involved with this trade. It's just that the amount of profit was much, much less than it should have been. Um, and so this is sort of one of those things where, um, I almost didn't really follow my own rule. I did in a sense that I took profit on the way up here, but I do always like to say that I don't look at levels and targets as specific price points. I look at them as zones. This would be a good example of that, because even here, if we would have been long up here, we didn't. It's the same thing. We didn't reach this level. We came pretty close, but that's why I typically like to look at levels as more of general levels, and not so much specific prices. Like for instance, this line would be. So anyway, not a losing trade. We took some profit out here as we got up closer to the zone, and then the rest got stopped out within a smaller profit. But anyway, moving forward, what we're looking at here is, um, more or less, we're still within this range here, right? Um, you know, good, pretty high volume bearish candle here at 6:30 due to some news, and so this level here we're really, really respecting. um, Probably, um, you know, looking back, obviously it's easier to say, when you're looking back, but should have prioritized this level a little bit more, maybe gone down to the 15-minute chart and really gotten this level figured out, right? So, but yeah, going forward, we are just within this pretty big range here. The 4 hour is pretty interesting. Lots of back and forth, but we're not showing any signs of um, uh, becoming bearish, right? We're still overall, in a general sense, we're still respecting this bullish price action. And so all I'm really looking for now is just um, the market to do its thing, right? Because with with the price action we're going through right now, this just really isn't ideal for me. Um, I would have wanted to see something a little bit more definitive. I was really thinking about a long position as we started to really break above this level, which would have been if I would have exited, right, it would have been a profitable position, but it just overall price action is not very ideal. A good bit of volatility in here, just not really worth it, and also not something we would want to go short on either, because we had this move down here below this level. Um, and instead of making a nice retest of the level to continue down, um, we retraced just a little bit, right? And then formed another leg before moving back to the upside. So not really something we'd be comfortable going short on either, because to reach this level again, we'd be breaking this high. Um, so overall, we have to just identify what we're in, and we are in a higher time frame consolidation here, right? That's the first thing we got to do, is identify that, which is what we are in now. So I actually am a fan of this level that we just retested on this 4 hour candle, which is just this open 30-minute candle that's about to close. If we can establish maybe in the next hour or two, if we can establish some nice price action in here, um, I would not be against a long position. I wouldn't have wanted to just enter here on the way down because, with a candle like this, especially if there's news involved, you never know where it's going to end. You don't want to, like they say, try to catch a falling knife. That's why I like to sort of let the thing bleed, let it do what it's going to do, and if it lines up, how I want it to, and then in a couple candles in the future, then I'll go from there, right? So, if we can get something generally like this, we can look at a long position, right? But, um, you know, obviously we have to just wait and see. Um, and yeah, I think eventually one of these days, obviously we are going to break this high. It's just that you have to, we got to be pretty patient because if we go back and look, obviously we continue to make new highs on gold, but in between we have a lot of highs and lows, lots of pullbacks, lots of stressful, um, frustrating price action, right? Um, and so that also, plays into part of the reason why I've been focusing much more on higher time frames and trying to hold trades longer, because you essentially you avoid a lot of that annoying noise and annoying price action, right? If the higher time frame price action makes sense to you, there's really no need to jump down to like a 5 minute or a 3 minute chart and try to catch all these different swings back and forth. Where I would rather just hold. Um, you have to be in the right environment, right? We're on gold. This is a very trending market. So this is the right environment to look for longer, higher time frame positions, swing positions, right? Intraday. And, you can't really do that on a pair that's going to be very volatile, where, you know, there's too much similarity between the currencies that are trading against each other, right? Like if we look at gold US dollar, gold's always going to go up against the dollar, right? Unless something ridiculous would have to change in order for that to not be the case. So um, anyway, you need to find the right environment, which gold is a great environment for that. And then we really need to zoom out and look at the bigger picture and look for places where we can get really really nice entries, right? Like obviously this other trade back here, we had, this was a great entry, right? A really great entry. Obviously, looking back, it didn't go exactly how we wanted it to, but that doesn't mean we were wrong about the market going up. That means, if we wanted the market to break this resistance, we were just too early. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen. We were just too early. So we just have to be patient and, not let your emotions or impatience get the best of you, right? Obviously, we are within, you know, very strong level here and a very strong level here. So essentially, I say this a lot. We're sort of like trapping price within two levels, two zones, um, in between two levels, which makes our zone. And so um, all we're really doing is observing and watching what the market does in reaction to the zones that we have here. And then, that helps us, that sort of tells us what the market's doing. And then we have, we can have confidence when we're taking an entry based on that, right? So anyway, my voice is hurting a little bit. So um, anyway, we're just going to wait and see how we react here. The market's going to open here in about a half an hour. And yeah, if we continue breaking down, like I said, I'm just going to let it do its thing. And then sort of after the damage is done, we're going to, reassess and reevaluate